I was sitting there in the corner of Sullivan's Café like I did every Monday for 3 years, ever since I moved back to Maple Ridge. The newspaper was open in front of me, but I wasn't really reading, just watching the fine rain draw patterns on the foggy window. My coffee with 3 sugars was cooling in the white ceramic cup. At 62, I had learned to appreciate these moments of peaceful solitude, this silence that didn't hurt anymore like it did in the first years after the divorce. The doorbell rang. I didn't look up. Immediate was a common sound, even comforting. But then I felt something shift in the cafe's air, as if the temperature had dropped a few degrees or the light had changed tone. When I finally looked up, the world stopped. Mark was standing in the doorway, raindrops glistening in his gray hair, his shoulders slightly hunched in a way I didn't remember. But his eyes, my God, his eyes were exactly the same. Deep brown with those golden flecks that seemed to catch fire when the light hit at a certain angle. 45 years dissolved in a single second. He saw me, froze. His hand was still on the door handle. "Do you two know each other?" The young, curious voice of the barista cut through the thick silence. Neither of us answered immediately. "Linda." Mark's voice came out. Hoarse, hesitant. "Linda Mitchell Sanders na," I said automatically, then corrected myself. "I mean, it was." I went back to Mitchell. Why was I explaining my marital status? My heart was pounding as if I'd run 4 miles. He walked slowly to my table, and I noticed the slight limp on his right side. "May I?" He gestured to the empty chair across from me. I just nodded. Words seemed to have completely fled my vocabulary. Mark sat down, carefully, as if the chair might break, or perhaps as if I might disappear. His proximity was overwhelming. The smell of his cologne was different, more woody than the Old Spice he wore at 20. But something about him was still unmistakably Mark. "You still take your coffee with 3 sugars?" he asked, with a tentative half-smile. I laughed, a strange, tremulous sound. "You remember that?" "I remember everything, Linda." The words hung between us like confession and accusation at the same time. I held the cup with both hands to hide the trembling. "Do you live here now?" I asked, searching for safe ground. "I came back 6 months ago. My sister saw you. Remember her? Got sick. I came to help and ended up staying. She's better now, thank God." He paused. "And you?" 3 years. After Ben and after the divorce, I wanted to come back home. My parents aren't here anymore, but the town still feels like home, you know. "I know." The barista brought coffee for Mark without asking, black Americano. Mark thanked him with a nod, but his eyes never left mine. "Did you get married?" I asked, feigning casualness. "For 28 years. Margaret passed away 4 years ago. Cancer." His voice carried that old pain I recognized immediately. The pain that never really heals, just becomes part of who you are. "I'm so sorry. Mark and Ben, he's a good man. We just weren't It wasn't what it should be. We realized it too late. But at least we realized it. I took a deep breath. We have 2 children. Jennifer is 36. David is 33. And you, 3. Emily, Thomas, and James. All adults now, with their own lives. He smiled with genuine pride, but there was something more behind that smile. Margaret was a wonderful mother. We sat in silence for a moment, just listening to the rain and the low murmur of other conversations in the cafe. Then Mark spoke softly. I thought of you when Emily got married on her wedding day. When I walked her down the aisle, all I could think about was our prom. You in that blue dress, saying that one day I'd be the father walking my daughter down the aisle. My heart squeezed. I wore blue to Jennifer's wedding, I said, almost whispering. And I thought of you. Linda ... double quotes, he began, but stopped, as if the words were too big to come out. Why didn't you call? The question escaped before I could stop it. 45 years of unanswered questions, and this was the simplest and the most impossible at the same time. He closed his eyes for a moment. When he opened them, there were unshed tears there. I did call. Once. You were married, had a daughter, seemed happy. I held the phone in my hand for 10 minutes before dialing. You answered, and I froze. Couldn't speak. You said hello 3 times, then hung up. I remembered. A strange phone call. Silence on the other end. A strange feeling that haunted me for weeks. It was you, I whispered. It was me. I was too much of a coward to say anything. What would I say? Hi, Linda. I ruined everything when I went to Stanford and let you go to NYU alone. I chose my career and spent every day since wondering if I made the right choice. Tears were streaming down my face now. I didn't even try to hide them. I made a call too. Years later, your secretary said you were in a meeting. I left my name. You never called back. I never got any message. His voice was broken. If I had ... it doesn't matter anymore, I said. But we both knew it was a lie. It mattered ... Every day of the last 45 years mattered. Mark slowly reached his hand across the table. I hesitated for just a second before placing my hand in his. His touch was warm, familiar in a way that defied time and logic. I have to tell you something, he said. Something I've kept all these years. I just waited. My heart pounding hard. I wrote a letter after graduation, before going to Stanford. I wrote, saying I had made a mistake, that we shouldn't try a long-distance relationship, that you were right when you said we should stay together, that I would find a way. I wrote that I loved you more than any career, dream, or ambition, that you were my home. Why didn't you ever send it? I did send it the next day, but I used your old address by mistake, you had just moved to that new apartment before NYU. Remember? When it came back, weeks later, with no response, I assumed you had read it and decided to move on. I covered my mouth with my free hand. A letter I never received. 45 years altered by an address error. And I said through tears, wrote and tore up 6 different letters, each one saying I had made a mistake, that pride wasn't worth it, that I would forgive you for choosing Stanford if you would just give me another chance. But I was too young to understand that pride doesn't feed the soul, so I never sent any of them. We were both crying now, hands intertwined on the table, completely oblivious to the cafe around us. You've been my what if for 45 years, Linda. Every important decision. I wondered what you would think, what we would choose together. I loved Margaret, loved her with everything I had to give, but there was always a part of me, a closed chamber in my heart, that had your name written on it. I know, I whispered. Ben knew, too. He never said it, but I think he always knew there was a part of me I couldn't give completely. Not because I didn't want to, but because I had left it at 18 in a school parking lot, watching you drive away. Mark squeezed my hand. We can't have those years back. No, I agreed. And even if we could, we would have missed our children, the good moments we had, the lessons we learned. But we can have now, he said, his voice gaining strength. If you want. I know I'm not the 20-year-old boy anymore. I have a bad knee, lost some hearing in my left ear, and need glasses to read. I sing off-key in the shower and forget where I put my keys. I laughed through the tears. And I wake up too early, talk to myself when I cook, have arthritis in my hands, and watch the same movies over and over because they comfort me. Perfect, he said, smiling that smile I had loved so long ago. We can be imperfect together. Mark. I hesitated. I'm scared of ruining the memory, of discovering that what we felt was just nostalgia, that we're very different people now, of being abandoned again. Even though you didn't abandon me on purpose the first time. He nodded slowly. I'm scared. Scared of not being enough. Scared that you'll see the old man I've become and realize you prefer the memory. Scared of having only a few years left and wasting them by being wrong about us. So what do we do? Mark took a deep breath. I learned something in the last 4 years, Linda. Losing Margaret taught me that time waits for no one, and my faith witch has grown a lot since she passed taught me that some things are bigger than coincidence. You and me in this cafe, on this rainy morning after all these years. I don't know if it's God or fate or just the universe being kind, but I know it means something. One day at a time, I suggested. One day at a time, he agreed. but committed to really trying. No running away when it gets hard. No letting fear win. This time, I fight for you, Linda Mitchell. I fight for us. I looked into those brown eyes with golden flecks and saw not just the boy I loved, but the man he had become, marked by loss, matured by time, but still capable of courage. I'll fight too, I promised. Mark smiled, that slow, beautiful smile that always melted me. So let's start simple. Dinner with me tomorrow night. There is that Italian restaurant on Elm Street. It used to be the pizza place where we went after football games. Antonio's, I said. It's still there? They make the best lasagna in town, Tomorrow? 7 o'clock? 7 o'clock. We sat for 2 more hours at Sullivan's Café while the rain fell and the coffee cooled. We talked about our children and grandchildren, about careers and retirements, about losses and lessons learned. We laughed at old memories, the prom where I stepped on his foot 3 times, the time he tried to impress me by making a picnic and forgot the food, our first argument about which movie to watch. But it wasn't just nostalgia, it was discovery. Discovering who we had become, how we still made each other laugh, how the pauses between our words were comfortable instead of awkward. When we finally left the cafe, the rain had stopped. The afternoon sun shone through the scattered clouds, creating rainbows in the puddles. Mark walked me to my car, his hand finding mine naturally. 45 years, he said softly. Maybe we didn't lose each other. Maybe we were just taking the long way back to one another. I stood on my tiptoes and kissed his cheek, feeling the texture of his aged but beloved skin. Until tomorrow, Mark. Until tomorrow, Linda. As I drove home, tears still wetting my face, but different tears now, tears of possibility and hope, I thought about all the choices that led us to this moment, the mistakes, the roads not taken, the letters unsent in, the words unspoken. And I realized that maybe what my grandmother used to say was true. It is never too late for true love. It just waits patiently, like a seed dormant in winter, until the right season finally comes. 40-5 years of winter, and now, finally, it was spring.